We are live. Welcome to a special edition, a late night edition, a post game CK podcast edition here on the Basketball Zone Calibo Kingdom YouTube channel. I'm Leo Biaz, your host. We're waiting on Javi. I've been ready for about 15 minutes. I'm like, you know what, bro? I'm just going alone. I'm going solo. If you don't want to celebrate this 122-106 Kings meaningless victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's on you. That's your loss. But we'll get him on real soon as he logs into Skype and we Skype him in. Again, the Kings won 122-106. It was my first game of the season. First time I go live. It was a cool thing to do it again, honestly. It was disappointing not seeing a lot of people there. It felt like a high school game without question. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, damn. Danny and I, owner of Medici Sacramento, we were in the suite by ourselves, literally. And I felt like most suites around us either had 0 people or like 2 or 3 people. And if you look down below, y'all saw my stories. If you saw my stories, you would see the little to very little to, I'm not going to say none, but very little amount of people at the game tonight. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I know it's been like that. There's a lot of politics that played into the amount and why people haven't showed up. I'm not going to get into all those semantics today, at least. But they got to do a better job, that entire organization, in terms of bringing people in. We know why. So, yeah. Kings win. We'll break that down. I want to discuss with Javi a question that was brought up by Benji on Instagram about whether or not the Kings are better or they have better chemistry without De'Aaron Fox. Real quick, I think it's a ridiculous question to ask, but we're going to talk about it because I feel like everybody has the right to express their feelings, right? Matter of fact, let's bring Derek in, man. Ridiculous question to ask. What's up, brother? How are you? Because I feel like everybody has the right. Hold up. Has the right. Can you hear me? Hello? Any audio coming in? Derek? I can't hear you. Huh. Let me see. Says that your audio is on, so huh. Try it again. Maybe log out and then log back in if you can. All right, so we're having some technical difficulties. I don't know why I can't hear Derek. Says he can hear me, but call in again, and we'll get you on again. But yeah, the Kings win 122-106. All right. All right. Can you hear me? I can see your lips moving, but I can't. That is strange. Give me one sec. Why do I hear myself? Still can't hear you. Yeah, it's not me. Let's see. Are you using a Mac or a PC? I'm on a Lynx laptop and I work with it. Are they wireless? I think you have to be connected. Maybe just take off your headphones and just go with the speaker on your laptop. So call back in with just your speaker. The AirPods should work. I don't know why though. Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. But I was hearing myself though, which was strange. Can you hear me now?
Hey, we go last time.
There
Is it
it
working
is.
for you or
There it
not?
is. It's working now. I hear you. Can you hear me? It was working. It was working, bro. It was working. Hold up. Can you hear me now? Oh shit. Can you hear me now?
Hey, what's up, man?
There it is. What's up, brother?
Hey, sorry about all that stuff. Yeah, I'm on a Linux laptop. It's like so, it's like the nerd shit. It's like I'm a software engineer, so
Nice.
it's that type of nerd shit. So you gotta believe what I say, right? I have some credibility. No, I'm just playing.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? But so I can you still hear me? I
Yeah.
just needed this. All
Perfect.
right, cool,
Perfect.
cool. So I had some things I wanted to talk about, but I don't want to steal the show. So do your thing, and I could just say whatever if you want.
Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Let's talk.
All right, man. So I just noticed a couple things. Like I like De'Aaron. We think he has that potential to be
Hmm.
like all star, superstar, whatnot. And he's learning. I heard about him doing those squats after the games. That's a great sign. But one thing I noticed about him, he has to work really hard for his shots. Like he's working hard. Part of it's like the refs aren't giving him his calls yet. Because like if it's like Russell versus James, he's gonna get those calls. But one thing I like about Tyrese is he looks more effortless, I should say. And when he was a point, I just saw like better motion, more people getting involved. So I wanted to see.
He's more
What do you think
effortless.
about?
Real quick, he's more effortless in getting others involved or getting his own shot. I just want to clarify.
Getting other people a shot? And one thing I like about him too is De'Aaron. I just saw him. He just jacked up threes some games. He's trying to get that because you hear Doug Chris talk about, hey, if he gets that three going, they got to respect the shot. But the problem is if he starts missing those, like that's just a waste of possession. And he gets like two or three of those in a row, and it's not a good start.
Right. Right.
And Yeah. So, what do you think about? So, do you think De'Aaron will see what's going on right now and then start to integrate himself?
I think the offense is so built around him that it may look like it's forced sometimes, where there's a lot of one-on-one going on. Same with the James Hardens of the worlds. All these ISO players, they're leaning in that direction when they play a five-out offense around De'Aaron Fox. And I've also noticed the level of difficulty of shots. Again, part of it, the referee's not really respecting him and not giving him those calls, but that's just the new NBA, right? Where you play this style of play. You have shooters around him. They're in the corners, literally waiting for him. And sometimes you become so codependent on him attacking the rim for a kick out rather than having a more fluid offense like you were talking about with Tyrese, where a little bit more motion, but a lot of it too is coaching, in my opinion. If you don't have any weak side action,
I
which
agree.
the Kings don't a lot of the times, which is super frustrating to watch, even tonight being at the game and
The
just
defense sucks
watching it
too.
once again in person, they don't have much motion. It's been a little bit better as of late, obviously with less De'Aaron Foxes out there. More of the team having to play together, forced to play together, is the better word. And I felt like again at times, right? Like in at the beginning of the games, the Kings look solid in terms of running their offense well, but then when the game gets kind of close, third quarter, fourth quarter, you see a lot of one-on-one, and that's where the elite coaches like the Snyders, the Spoelstras, the Popoviches, that's where their experience, I
Yeah,
guess, kicks in. And
that will help. And Darren has just gone off for like 20, right? But I
yeah,
just hope those two integrate well because we definitely need Darren there to do it. And just one more shade towards Darren. He does have a little bit of tunnel vision sometimes when he's driving. That could just be me seeing things, seeing things I want to see.
mm,
Where Tyrese, he has that like corner vision from his eye. Like he sees it. Like he makes the good, like really good move most of the time. Nobody's perfect, so having the ball in your quarterback's hand, kind of like that, I kind of like. But I hope they both could integrate well together.
yeah, I do think Tyrese is actually a better instinctive passer for sure. Like you said, he has these passes where he just sees it the corner of his eye. And honestly, like I tell people all the time, basketball is a game of a split second. Either you make the decision in that split second, or you don't. And Tyrese is phenomenal. He plays defenses with his eyes, which is so awesome and so fun to watch. Man, like he's just so ahead of the game in terms of his IQ, his age.
His IQ is there. I interview people,
Mm,
and I could just tell with the guy like
100%, bro.
he's what,
100%.
and
And
it's
then,
like he keeps on surprising us, dude. Like I
yeah,
didn't think he was gonna be this, but like towards the end of the season, like he was 2-2 with like Lakers and those teams. I think that they're talking about maybe like I don't know. I think some people might limit his ceiling, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him take more and more leaps.
yeah, especially if he gets stronger, right? Once he
Yeah,
stops getting muscled in, again, he's a rookie. He didn't have a typical offseason for a rookie, which is important to note, especially now. He's going to have the biggest offseason of his life.
yeah, seriously.
Trainers, better food, uh, nutrition, all those good stuff, and it's going to help
Yeah,
him a lot. So I can't wait
which
to
is
see.
fine. But
Like I can't wait to see the second year Tyrese Halliburton. And to your point about De'Aaron Fox, though, you're right. Like he wasn't like the game didn't really slow down till towards the end, right? Till after post All Star break of last year. So that was year number 3, and the game's already so slow for Tyrese. Like he dictates the game at his own pace. He plays
but
at his own pace.
to add what you said earlier about, I remember we were talking in chat. You might not remember this, but Darren didn't have anybody he could trust. I
Sure.
noticed that like I remember when Tyree like he first went down the season, I saw the look in De'Aaron's face. It could be me seeing this, but I got a good read on people. I feel like he saw Tyrese doing his thing. He's like, okay. And I think he's seeing what's going on. He could trust. I think people a little bit more. So hopefully that helps the clock going. Hopefully some better coaching too. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll see how it goes. I want to mention another thing that's kind of I've been seeing. I want to see your thoughts because it's kind of going against the grain a bit. I respect the hell out of you guys' opinion. It's like you guys are really educated on the stuff, and But this is what I've just seen. I just want to see what you think. So I've noticed with sometimes with players when they try really hard, when they like we like to see that like the I'm talking about Richard Holmes. So we see him try really hard. He does everything that you want to see. So when he makes a play, going back to effortless versus having to work for it,
Hmm.
I think sometimes it looks a little bit better than what he's actually giving the team. Like
It's
what I'm
interesting.
trying to say is, I think that he's. I love his attitude. That guy. If you want to go to war with somebody, that's the guy you want with you. But I have a feeling potentially that it's a little bit deceiving. I think that he does everything like he's really extended. He does all this stuff, but like when I I'm going back to Marvin Bagley a bit. When I see him in a pick and roll, or like you look at somebody like Chris Webber back in the day, give him the ball. I'm sorry, I don't know if he's gonna make the best decisions with passing. I think he won't make anything stupid, but I don't think you'll get a lot of variety from him on the offense right there. I'm noticing like when Bagley came back, you know, I saw more assists in his game. That's one thing I always hated about him. He's a once you give it to him, you're not getting it back.
Right.
But I've seen it a little more. I think that he's adjusting. And one thing I noticed about Bagley, I remember when he went after Dame, right, with the rap battle and everything.
Hmm.
He's not afraid to put himself out there. And I don't think he will just lay down. And I think he has that pedigree. I think that if you look at him, he is intelligent. Maybe a little bit of ego, but I think that I've seen enough out of him where I wouldn't trade him to pay out Bagley. I was going to bring up Terrence Davis, and I'm just looking at box scores sometimes. I would throw a guy like that, like 8 to 10 million potentially, and still keep the other guys around besides Rashard Holmes. But I'm with you; he is worth 15 mil. Um, but I think that you have him. You've seen him on the court with everybody at full strength, and it's not producing like a playoff contender team. So just all those things. Not saying it's the best decision. I would let him walk.
Let me ask you this: do you think now that the Kings finally have a respectable backup in Damian Jones, um, do you think that the Kings at full strength, obviously huge hypothetical, but with Rashawn Holmes starting and Damian Jones backing them up, because we all know this. Anytime Holmes would go to the bench, there was a huge drastic drop off, and then the Kings would lose a lot of their leads or even close games where then they'd be down by double digits, and then it's always difficult to play from behind. It's like anything else. But do you think that they would be a lot better? Because I know you just said that they're not a playoff team at full strength with Rashawn, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of questioning, if Bagley's your starter at the five, because eventually that's what he's going to be. Um, are you a better team in your opinion with
Well, one
Marvin?
thing I actually wanted to talk about, I have a kind of some points that I wrote down. I'm
Hmm.
not saying this is me a better duo, but I would just be interested to see Metu with Bagley on the court. I like how mobile Metu is. He can shoot. Talk about a guy that has, he has been showing some skills. I can see why he likes him, but I wouldn't start like him above over Bagley. That's just me.
Why though?
Just
Like
because
what has Bagley improved since his days at Duke, in your
man, I'm
opinion?
just seeing his offense, man. Like when he's on, he gets the easy shots. But that's one thing I wanted to talk about too. Is I think it was against Indiana. Of course, he would take All Star, so that might be an outliner, right? But anyways, one thing that you look at him, his shots were easy. That's something I would love to see. Like Richard Holmes has a push shot, that's great. Darren Fox drives the basket. We already mentioned, we already talked about, uh, how like he has to work hard for his shots. Buddy just he chucks it sometimes
Hmm.
without a lot of space. Bagley was getting easy baskets. And you want to talk about getting other guys open? There's multiple ways to get guys open. You could drive to the basket, kick out. You could have a threat. Let's say you're playing that pick and roll where Bagley covers that distance, right? He could offensive rebound like crazy. And that's one thing I hate about how he's playing right now because he's like the fourth option. He's out in the 3 point line. But if you have him in that position where he's driving to the basket, making moves, he could be in position to get more rebounds. Um, I am banking on the fact that he has to improve his defense. I think that he might look at Rashawn as a competitor because I would do the same thing. You look at somebody as a competitor, what they're doing better than you. I think that he could pick he could work on what he needs to work on there, pick up what Rashawn's doing, just the effort, right? I see sometimes
Why?
before the
But like,
injury,
why hasn't he picked it up? And he's had 2 years
I
to
think
to
he's
to
starting to
like.
pick it up a bit. That's
Okay.
me personally. I feel like he showed enough to me. I was really on the fence right before he got injured, but I think he showed enough to me in this last part to keep him around. Like he made the team for me going forward. That's just me personally, and I could be way off base on the Rashawn Holmes analysis. Like I could be missing some stuff out. I'm just a casual fan,
Yeah.
and I'm just giving some observations of what I've been seeing.
Yeah. I just.
But you see
I
where I'm
get.
coming from with like having maybe Marvin at the as the pick and roll guy. He could roll to the
Yeah. I mean,
basket a
that's
little bit.
that's what I've been wanting him to be for a long time. And like to your point, watching a guy like Rashawn Holmes who has embraced his role as that guy that does the little things, that likes to roll. Bagley wants to pick and pop, get the ball, and tell everybody to move out the way because that's what he was in college. That's what he was in high school. And it's more of an ego thing, right? Where you have to do the little things within the flow of an offense. And I feel like he hasn't accomplished that in his first 3 years. And even now, when you say he's getting easy or it looks easy, what do you
And
mean by that?
he's getting more assists too. Getting more assists lately. I've been noticing he's been looking for the pass a little bit more than he has been. Um,
That's true.
that's just my observation.
Yep.
That's my observation. So that is needed because
But are you
if
saying
you're going to
that
be that
he
guy that
scores
Rashawn Holmes
easily, or what do you mean by that? Like,
yeah, like when his spin move to the basket, like when he's on the post, he covers a lot of ground. A
hmm
lot of his shots, like when he got the 32-point score, if you look at his baskets, they're all really close to the hoop. I think he only took about one or two threes that game. That's what I mean by easy. It's just like a lot more in there. Um, and I just think that too, like talking about the flow of Tyrese, I just noticed a little bit better fluid motion out of Bagley and them on the court together. I do feel like De'Aaron gets tunnel vision and goes for that layup a lot, and I think
hmm
it does take a lot out just talking about like a team, right? If you
yeah,
have just one person that does just all that tunnel vision, doesn't get everybody involved. People are, unless they're really motivated, like Rashard Holmes, right? That just does it all the time. They can get guys out, and that might be part of the reason why you just talked about how everybody's kind of had it work right now. Is getting a little bit more people, a little bit more people involved. So we do need Darren Fox is part of the. He's definitely part of the key. I just hope those two guys, him and
it's
Howard, because
interesting.
those two for sure. At least if we have two guys like that, even though like that's all we have right now, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Although it's not great, but it's
oh, it's
at
good.
least we have some.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I respect your observations. I think they're fascinating on so many levels. I'm fascinated by, not just you, because there's a lot of people who get super excited about Marvin Bagley, and if he has a good game, the next game is a huge build up, and obviously when he had 30, then he scored like what, like 4 points. The following
Yeah,
game, it was a letdown, but. I saw, and obviously I have a good vibe for like fans and obviously from the platform and what they're expecting, like, oh, he's going to score 30 again, and then it was a huge
yeah, but I don't
letdown.
know.
But
How that is like, and I get the frustration with the guy and the team in general, like San Antonio, that lost in the play. I mean, in the bubble last year, they bombed. Like we've been getting a lot of letdown, but yeah, something needs to change there for sure. Coaching, maybe the identity of the team. That's what I loved about Tyrese too. He's talking about identity and whatnot, and he picked up on that how important that is. So that's another pro for him. But no, it's all understandable. That's just kind of my 2 cents. It's not the best situation, but
no,
if
no,
I'm my
it's good
coach,
stuff,
that's my
bro. I
problem.
mean, the only thing I would disagree is that um, to me, Metu looks more effortless than Bagley. Uh, Maybe it's just my observation. I saw it again tonight in person. The way he moves is more fluid.
His face looks effortless the whole time.
He's
Yeah.
just like tonight. Like I think his spins are faster. He has better feet. Maybe because he played soccer growing up. and he has real good feet. Just those little intangibles that were sold to me coming out of college for Marvin Bagley, like, oh, his second jump's amazing, blah blah blah, and it just comes to show that you don't have to be the number 2 pick to be more athletic, and because honestly,
He's solid.
what's his best attribute? Like his best attribute coming out of college was his second jump, and I don't think it's that impressive. Like I
He's a
don't.
freak athlete too. He is like a freak athlete. You have to give him that. Metu, like his first drive of the game when he got rejected, that call with that was challenged. You know that was a kind of stupid play in my opinion, and then he got rejected. Um, that is like really kind of not the most amazing look. So I just look at his body. I think he's solid. I think he's good. But
I think he's a freak athlete, and I don't think
I'm barely.
Bagley is a freak.
I know you
I
don't
think
feel
Bagley is a
athlete.
good athlete.
Gotcha. No, that's understandable. I think he's a good athlete, a much better athlete in my opinion. And yeah, it's hard to say too much about him because he's been kind of messing up here and there. But that's what I would go with personally. I'm not super excited about it, but going
Yeah.
forward because the Kings are kind of a mess. Those are the
So
real
you'd
names.
run it back with signing Terrence Davis and then keeping Bagley rather than signing Holmes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll see
And
what
that's just kind of a
happens.
gamble. It's kind of a gamble, man.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Thanks for having me on. It's
Hey,
cool little feature.
hey, appreciate you, Derek, man. Means a lot, man. Thank you so much for
All right,
your
man.
for
Keep
your
up,
observations, bro.
yeah, thanks, man. Keep
All
up
right,
the good content.
all right,
You're my
brother.
go-to.
Appreciate you,
All right,
man.
man.
Thank you as always.
Have a good one.
All right, man. Great stuff there by Derek. Again, y'all can call in, join the conversation. I think Javi was trying to get in. You on Skype? Let me text him back. How's everybody doing, by the way? Make sure you drop a like or a dislike, whatever helps us out either way. Uh, Hendrick. All right. Let's see. Skype me. Let's see. Give me 1 second while I bring Javi in. All right, 1 second. And here we go. No. 1 sec. Alrighty. You're on, bro.
How's everyone doing out there?
How you
How are
doing,
my
brother?
Kings fans feeling after this blowout victory back to back against the trepid, more than distasteful, and egregiously bad tanking Kings, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So for all you tankers, this is what you would see. Statistic for everybody out there that does not think tanking is bad. The Oklahoma City Thunder have the widest margin of defeat in NBA history
Tiggity.
over the last 25 games of the season in the league's history for how many points they've been defeated by in points scored for against in points in any NBA statistical season in a win-loss column and points scored for or against column. That is putrid. I don't care if they have 35 picks in the next 7 drafts. There's only 15 roster spots. So not any of them players, majority if not all of them, aren't going to make that roster. So it looks good on paper. It sounds good on TV. When Bobby Marks spins it on ESPN, it looks all fancy. But not all them players are going to make the team. because you only get 15 roster spots. So you can play for the picks, but like I said, they have the most incredible margin of defeat in NBA history over the last 25 games of the season. And there's
Yeah, but they haven't
no
had
part
Shea,
of it.
bro. But they haven't had Shea.
It doesn't
It
matter.
does matter.
They got rid of everybody they
You're
had. They had
telling me that they
Paul
lose by,
Gallinari. They
but
had
so
Shea
would Shea not make him
Gilgeous-Alexander,
better?
rather, and they had one more player they let go, another piece in the offseason.
So would Shea not make him better?
Well, obviously make him better, but what I'm saying is they were tanking with or without him playing.
They were actually winning games with him. Like, it was
How many games
weird.
did he miss now? 20?
Bro, he's missed more than that. And one thing too that you forgot to mention, Al Horford, bro. When Shea and Al were playing, they were actually winning games and they were super competitive.
Are they Andre Drummond and him?
They literally sat his ass down, which was super strange, and he's cool with it. Like, all right, I'm getting paid $30+ million.
Watch.
It's insane. Like, I've never in my life covering this game have seen an Al Horford situation where they literally said, "You're not playing," and he's like, "All right, I'm not playing." And then Lou Dort hasn't been playing either. So Lou Dort, Shea, and Al Horford, that substantially makes that team better, bro. Like, and then with Baisley and Poku's nice, man. Watching that kid in person today, that dude is legit 7 feet tall, and he's out here looking like a guard.
I just wonder if Kings fans out there, like, granted, our playoff chances are slim to none. I mean, the Spurs have to lose out, and we have to win out. We have to beat Memphis twice, and we have to beat
The Spurs
Utah.
ain't losing out, bro.
I didn't say they were. I'm saying they get play Phoenix twice, and then they play.
They'll beat
Brooklyn
Phoenix
and the
once.
Knicks. Okay. I'm saying in
The
a
Kings
perfect
might go
world-
undefeated, bro, but it doesn't matter because the Spurs won't lose all 4 games.
Okay, well, I'm saying if for some unforeseen chance that the Spurs lose all 4 and the Kings win out, they'll make the playoffs. But my point is this: at 31-38, do Kings fans wish they would have not acquired Davis, DeLon, Silva, and Harkless, and they would be where the Thunder are at right now and be 21-49 or 48, because they're like, what, 48, 49 losses in the loss column? Would you prefer that as Kings fans, or see where they're at right now at 31 wins? Because honestly, you could be like, yeah, we tank and we got a top 5 lottery pick.
It's tough.
You could be at 11th, 12th in the conference. I mean, they'll probably finish 11th, depending on how the Pelicans finish, and they'll be a game or 2 out of 10th. What would you prefer?
Honestly,
I don't know. I'm not in a position to pick. I'm just not a position. I'm not a person rather that puts myself in any prominent role of I'm gonna lose intentionally by looking at what's ahead. I'm trying to win everything every day, each and every day, and people think that's ludicrous. I mean, I guess. I mean, if the Kings are 21 wins and 49 losses down with 70 games in, would you feel better about the franchise moving forward next year than you would right now?
I think a lot of people would.
Why? Because the pick's higher?
Yeah. And if you think about just this is me trying to answer this in the best way that I can, in the most objective way that I can, and that's the Thunder have been a successful franchise for a while now. The Kings haven't. The Kings haven't made a playoffs in 15 years now. So the context of things matters, and when you think about tanking and your odds improving, Thunder fans are approaching this as, oh my God, what if we do get Cade? You combine that with Shea, who I love. Like, I'm super high on Shea. Like, Shea's as good as De'Aaron, in my opinion. Like, if you combine those 2 guys together with Lou Dort and with Bays and with all the picks that they have, so that they have so much draft capital that they can do what you want, essentially, which is to bring in another star, draft, package all that up, and then now you're talking with Shea, Cade, and a potential all-star. That's how Thunder fans are looking at it, and that's where a lot of Kings a lot of the contingency of tankers were trying to look at this as well. A lot of fans were thinking having 3 top picks in the top 20. The Kings pick, if Harrison would have won to Boston, and then the other one, which I think was Sean Holmes going to Charlotte, I don't think that would have been the top 20 pick, but I think that would have been like roughly about 22. So I understand it, but then from your perspective and my perspective, we're like, man, we haven't won squat in the last 15 years. The culture needs to change. So there's just both organizations are in such different situations that I don't think it's fair to compare them as apples to apples because they're so different. That makes sense?
Um, yes and no, because okay, let's say we do what the Thunder are doing essentially.
Right.
What if they don't have the ping pong balls fall where you presume them to, and the Kings finish with the third worst record in the league and finish eighth in the lottery?
Yeah.
Not only did you trade away all your pieces, you didn't acquire any talent. De'Aaron's like, we're the third worst team in the league. We have the eighth overall pick, though. We have no future for any player acquisition for any talent because we got rid of everything we had, roster included. We didn't acquire anything at the deadline, and I'm supposed to be okay with this? Me and Halliburton are like, oh, okay, like, well, I guess we're just gonna be bad and.
But
try to
you're
start
talking
off
about the
with-
Kings though. Like
Huh?
but you're referring to the Kings and their situation, not necessarily with the Thunder, because Shea just came off a playoff appearance last year.
No, but what
So
I'm saying is the Thunder situation is
it's
prevalent
different.
with their
It's different
success
though.
in the past years. But I'm saying I'm asking Kings fans rather if you would be happy with the Kings if they went down the path that the Thunder have went down to go full tank mode. What I'm saying is, yeah, it looks good from the Oklahoma City standpoint because they have 34 picks in 7 years. They have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They have Lou Dort. They have the two young guys that you named previously,
Yep.
Al Horford, etc. They're probably going to finish top 5 and not top 2, top 3 in the lottery, but they still have the ping pong balls fall their way. What I'm saying is, if they don't, like say if the Kings in that situation and the ping pong balls didn't fall where they're supposed to for the Kings, and the Kings finished with 24 wins and 48 losses, and they're just putrid. And I'm saying they're in that situation and they get eighth in the lottery. What did you really accomplish?
Agreed. I agree.
You lost your 2-3 best role players outside of De'Aaron and Halliburton. You didn't acquire any talent at the deadline, and you're back in NBA purgatory. Like I hear you want to. Oh, we want to get a better draft pick. What if the Kings don't, or what if the Thunder don't even get?
But
the
are
Kings?
you in purgatory now?
I mean, at 31 and 38, I think you're slightly under mediocre. Maybe you're at mediocre. Maybe you're just under average, below average. But can you tell me right now that the Kings are being coached at their highest capability? Do you think Marvin Bagley's demise of consistently not being available to play hurts the outlook of the team going forward? Yes. But those are two things that can be corrected. Like, if they got a more, I wouldn't say fit coach, but a coach that's just more proficient, not even prominent, but just overall more productive and can put them in a place of respectability again defensively and just make it a more prompt situation in regards to consistent defensive effort and execution and figure out the 4 position, which, I think they can with the pieces they have, whether they do it through trade or free agent acquisition, whatever, etc. They're not. I mean, I'm being as far away as people think. I mean, if they finish with 34 wins and they're 34 and 38, I mean, granted, it's another lost year, but I'm saying if you had in my opinion, if you had a coach like Mark Jackson or somebody of that ilk, Nate McMillan, and then you had the 4 situation figured out, I think the Kings would be 38 and 34 this year, and they'd be in the play-in. I'm not saying they'd be top 6, but there are a lot of games in that second half of the season that they blew that they shouldn't have lost. And I'm not saying that they're not better than those teams, but a coach that puts a foot in where would not let that happen. And I feel that 200% is under the responsibility of the head coach. Maybe that's a stretch, but hey, that's how I feel because
It's a little bit of a stretch because you have to look at De'Aaron Fox and look at his leadership qualities and ask yourself why didn't he step up in those first quarters? Where the Kings struggled in a lot of those games that you're referring to, where they should have won those games. I agree 1,000% with you on that, 1,000%. But a lot of it, bro, at the end of the day, we like it or not, it falls on the players, man. and the players have to take ownership of their actions. And sometimes De'Aaron, he turns it up in the fourth, but I've been preaching this all year long. He needs to establish himself in the first and take over in the fourth. Second, third quarter, take a little break, start sharing the ball. It's okay. But he needs to assert himself in the first quarter. And I don't care who your coach is, that needs to come from the player within. And if that's not within the player within, I don't know what to say, bro.
Yeah. It's not sad, but it's just like, this is like the Kings' MO. And at the end of the day, we have a situation where what do they do in the offseason? Like, are they gonna send off Heald, Harrison, or are they going to try, like, because I heard on a local King station that they're in the business right now in the summer to want to look to acquire a star. And I've been saying that, but I'm saying, well, why didn't you do that at the deadline? And then, you sent us a thing in the group chat today, Leo, like, Bradley Beal's not coming here. But based on what precedent? Like, I don't understand. Like, I think Monte McNair has shown he can make stuff happen. Like,
the fact that he loves Russell Westbrook.
For 50 cents on the dollar, he's getting good value.
The fact that he loves Russell Westbrook.
What do you mean?
Even he said coming into the season, I thought Russell Westbrook was what a lot of people said of him, like selfish, etc. Like
who loves Russell Westbrook?
Beal. And
okay, but
they're finally no. I mean, but
supposed to say he doesn't love his teammate.
But you can tell on the court now that they've been winning a lot of games as of late. They've been super hot, which is why they've improved so much. And it seems like Russell has hit his stride, as weird as that sounds, because I'm not a fan of Russell, but I got to give him props of recent how he's been playing so well, and they're winning games. So why would he want to leave that situation, knowing that they're building something there as well, and they're in Washington, they're in a better market than Sacramento. As hard as that is for us to swallow, like they're a bigger market, they're a better market on so many levels. So why would he not want to stay and build on what they're building on now? Like, I think they're going to make the playoffs, and they'll get eliminated in the first round, but it's not like they're a bad team anymore. Like, this team is finally, built something, and I think they're headed in the right direction if that's where they choose to go, whether or not they improve their own roster in the offseason. So they're not going to be looking to ship him anymore. I think, as you said, that should have happened at the deadline where things were kind of shaky and the trust wasn't there within those two All-Stars, but I feel like it's starting to click, and they're not going to want to look and ship him out, bro. Like, that's how I feel about it. I think they're going to play their cards, just say, you know what, I'm going to try and acquire somebody myself, and if Beal leaves us after next season, it is what it is, but we're taking that risk.
Just you have a look in the grand scheme of things, the macro, and you have to wonder under this regime, what's the end game? Are they going to try to develop Halliburton with Fox and just get the pick, 15 to 18 and try to make that the core with Sean? Because at the end of the day, somebody has to go financially unless they can find a way to get rid of those bench pieces. But, the word around, they were talking about Kemba Walker. I don't want Kemba Walker. Not at his salary cap figure. But again, it's just, I don't think the Bulls are going to look in to move Levine, especially after they acquire Vucevic. But again, the summer is going to be very telling, I feel like, in the NBA. And not just with player movement, but just like where franchises are heading with, a year in with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like how much revenue they lost with teams not folding, but, shedding salary. And then with teams that feel like, hey, we're just going to go – we can't get past where we're at with this team, with the nucleus, so we're just going to go full rebuild, reboot, and reload and remake this roster, because some rebuilding processes that have been put out there in the NBA as of late that are prominent are just done because teams don't want to be patient and they want to put themselves in position to just go and get a pick because they're like, this team can't push past AC. We're going to push ourselves back into restart. and we're going to put these players in the trading block and see what we can get back for them, and those pieces are available for trade.
Yeah.
I just don't think McNair's in a position to say, hey, Vivek, I think this team is as far as they can possibly get. We're going to trade Harrison, Buddy, and Rashawn. If they're going to do it, they're shit in that, March 24th, March 25th before the deadline, and they didn't. But again, we're 6 weeks from that now. I'm just wondering, can they re-sign Rashawn? I mean, you see, like, Jones is a nice piece. Metu's cool. Marvin is Marvin.
Jones is a really nice backup to Rashawn, bro. I think we finally
no,
found.
I know. I'm saying I don't see him as the starter.
Oh,
like,
hell
that they can
no.
rely on, substantially
Hell
if they let
no.
him walk. So I think they're gonna have to find a way to make ends meet with Rashawn. But I'm just saying right now, if you have a Kings lens of things right now, do we make a play for another all-star caliber player with players we have on our roster like Buddy and Harrison, or do you just run this team back? And you just run it back like, hey, we're going to get a draft pick. We're going to still have De'Aaron, Buddy, Harrison, Marvin, Rashawn, and then you're going to run back, the 3-guard backcourt off the bench with DeLon, Terrence Davis, Halliburton, Harkless, and Damian Jones and Metu, and you say how far – and then the draft pick, or are you going to mix it up and make things happen in free agency as well as through trade? Because the Kings obviously – it can be hard for them to make a splash, quote unquote, in free agency. But they have pieces that can be sought after for trade. But it's just because we only have 3 games left, and then we'll be at the end of May more or less, and June will be upon us. And you wonder what they're going to do in July, August for free agency and through trades because I want them to try to make the playoffs now, but a little too late. They got to win 3 in a row, 3 straight, and then the Spurs have to lose all 4, which is very, very high unlikely. Not just them that passed the Pelicans too. But I'm just asking fans out there, all my Kings fans listening around the world, do you think right now, from what me and Leo have been saying all year, would you rather have the Kings be at 21-48 going into the last game's conclusion and having the Kings be a tanking franchise with a higher draft pick overall for the lottery and rolling those dice, or be at 33, 31, 34 wins where they're at right now? They're at 31-38 and they win. Let's say they win 2 of the next 3 and they're at 33-39 for the year. Would you be more comfortable with that as Kings fans moving forward for the 2021-2022 NBA season?
Yeah, below WC16 says he's talking to you. He says you're rumbling on nonsense. You really said Mark Jackson. LOL. None of the. So I have to agree with you, bro. Like, I'm one of the biggest Mark Jackson haters. Like, he wouldn't solve anything. If anything, he'd make them worse, in my opinion.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah, that's fair, but I just feel like Mark Jackson is not a good coach. He's a good assistant coach, as is Luke and as is Alvin. But
man. why could he? Why the commenters say I'm rambling about nonsense? I don't understand. But can you explain why? Because I'm saying, where would you feel? Because at a particular time we can talk about the game all we want, but the season's over essentially unless, like I said, they do the obvious: win 3 straight and the Spurs lose 4 straight.
He said, why y'all talking about the backcourt when the King needs the front court?
Huh?
He said, why y'all talking about the backcourt when the Kings need better front court?
We don't need a better backcourt. Well, I mean, our shooting guard that we start currently is one of the worst ball handlers in the league. He can't create his own shot, and he's really bad defensively. Outside of the 3-point shot from the perimeter,
as of late, though, Buddy is showing up, though.
I'm not saying he's not playing. I'm saying he's still one of the worst ball handlers in the league at his position. He's still one of the worst.
But as of late, he's really improved those aspects of his game, though.
I know, but he's still bottom 5 in the league at his position at those 2 parts of his game in regards to ball handling and defensive efficiency at the 2-guard position. He's top 3 in 3-point percentage, in 3-point efficiency, and 3-point usage, but he's still bottom 5 in.
So, do you think his recent play? Do you think does Javi think that this is fool's gold?
With Buddy?
Yeah, I mean, Buddy's been distributing the ball really well as of late.
I just think we know who Buddy Hield is. And I'm not saying I don't like Buddy Hield. I'm saying I don't like him at his cap figure, and I don't like him as we could acquire somebody better, but we're not going to because of Buddy Hield. I don't know why that fan said, "Oh, we're talking about the backcourt." Well, the NBA, sorry to break it to you, my friend, is a guard-driven league. If the Kings had, I don't mean to bring his name up, but if Luka Doncic was the King, the Kings would be in the playoffs. If the Kings had a Bradley Beal, a Zach LaVine, somebody of that ilk next to De'Aaron, they wouldn't be at 31-38. They'd be at 35 and 34 right now. Like Steph Curry right now, like I'm not comparing any guard to Steph Curry in the West, like especially not Sacramento. I'm saying like he single-handedly is carrying the Warriors right now. Like, granted, Wiggins had 38 tonight, but when they were like right there with the Kings, Steph Curry put them at the next level. You know what I mean? Like he almost equates to two guards in Sacramento. And I'm not saying that literally, but like almost figuratively in certain respects, he's literally doing what I'm trying to find to counter De'Aaron to equal that production because he has them at 37-33 with no Clay in the West with Draymond who can't shoot outside of 5 feet and Wiggins is an EOD every other
but
day.
Steph is literally the best point guard. Steph is the best point guard in NBA
and
history.
I know that. What I'm saying
in
is
NBA history, period. I don't want to hear anybody else.
Okay, understood. What I'm saying is you're trying to find a player that you can acquire to compete with that. Because even with that, the Warriors are still 8th in the West. What I'm saying, that's not speaking nonsense. It's not something important. What do you mean? Like, yeah, the front court is an issue. You're right. But Rashawn is the guy that you want to re-sign unless you have different plans, commenter. Or Harrison, are you going to get rid of Harrison? Well, who's taking on Harrison's contract and what are you getting back for him? And then, yeah, Marvin Bagley, that's the
I tell you what, though,
part.
Bradley Beal and Steph Curry next year, when they play together, that's going to be a mean backcourt, bro.
Bradley Beal playing on the Warriors next year?
Yep.
Well, what deal is?
Don't make it happen. Get rid of Wiseman. You froze, bro. You froze.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I said, why don't you offer them Halliburton, Hield, and 3 picks?
I mean, I would, but I feel like the Warriors are in a better position to accomplish something like that, where they can give up Wiseman, they could potentially give up that pick. That's going to be a high pick, right? If it's Minnesota's or if it falls out of the top 3 or what is it again?
It's anything. It's top 3 protected.
Okay, so it's top 3 protected. So say they fall out of there and they get number 4. So number 4, Wiseman, and whoever else, Wiggins. Like it can happen, man. It can happen. And the Warriors, for some reason, people respect their GM a lot league wide. And he has that capability. He's garnered that type of respect. I don't know if Monty is there yet.
Well, hey, let's just make sure we have a sense of respectability to what he did at the deadline. Because if he didn't have respect, he wouldn't have put off them trades. He was getting steals at the deadline. And I don't care. Nemia, who was going to walk, got Silva and Harkless. That was a steal. We got Terrence Davis for a second-round pick that we're not going to use because we don't even draft well typically ever in the second round. No team really does unless you just really get lucky. And they got DeLon Wright for Corey Joseph.
Yeah, but the Raptors, but none of these players were high on the list of any of those teams, though. Let's be honest. Terrence Davis wasn't going to play much with what's his name from the Blazers going over there, who's been killing it, by the way. The kid from Duke who got traded for the other pit bull. I'm still on there.
Gary Trent Jr.?
Yeah, so he wasn't going to play over Gary Trent Jr. He wasn't going to play over Malachi, who's been playing, who's a rookie, he's a stud. So you saying that they gave him up for a second-round pick, okay, cool. Mo Harkless was super soft, wasn't even playing much with the Heat, was out of the rotation. So they were looking more for a specific outside shooter like Nemanja because they already have defensive pieces in Miami. So that wasn't really a big get. They don't have Silva no more. They already cut him. And then who else they got?
Who cut Silva?
The Kings did.
Oh, they cut him today?
They cut him like 2-3 weeks ago.
Silva?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
He's on the roster still.
He's not on the roster, bro. He's been cut.
I'm looking at the roster today. He's still on the roster, like on CBS roster. Anyway, I wasn't aware. I didn't see that because.
Yeah, but he's not on the roster no more. So they cut him, and then the Pistons were literally just trying to get rid of everybody so they can tank and try to get Cade. So, and because DeLon's contracts, he's still owed a certain amount. Next thing is 9 or 8 points something next year. So I get what you're saying. Like, yes, he found good talent for good deals, but it's not like, oh my God, they're amazing moves, or oh my God, he now has a pedigree that I can trust him. He made okay moves. Like, they're good for the Kings, but I feel like a lot of GMs in the position that he was in would have made the exact same moves because there wasn't much pullback in terms of a negotiation because these teams were trying to get rid of these guys. So that's why I'm not like, I'm not gonna give them an A+ or anything like that. It's just they're obvious moves for these teams. Like they needed to make that happen. So and the Kings were just a recipient of trying to improve their bench, and they failed miserably in terms of not closing out games that they should have won. So many games we can go back and pinpoint. Just one game, not just like a lot, just one game, and all of a sudden you're looking at the Kings differently with potentially making the 10 seed. It's
Friday.
it's insane. Like
They
not
don't
even
have Friday
Friday. Like the second game on the back-to-back against the Spurs. Like they should have won that game after they had all the momentum and they were on the winning streak and they lost. They got blown out. I remember that because I was in New Orleans. So there's a lot of games that we can pinpoint. That Pistons game on my birthday, they should have won that game.
Man.
I mean, God diggity. It just go back and look at all the games and you're just like, win one or two more games and you're literally fighting for that spot on the last game of the year, and things would have been interesting. But the Kings would have effed around and literally lost the last game against the Jazz and then broken everybody's hearts. Because that's what the Kings do.
No, I hear you. My bad, Kings fans and Leo. I didn't even realize he was waived on the 28th of April. I didn't see that at all. I didn't even see that they even posted that on any news brief. But my bad. So long, Chris Silva. I didn't know you were even cut. I thought you were still on the roster because CBS had you on the roster, but apparently Chris Silva's been waived. My apologies for being late. But either way, Nemanja for Harkless was a good deal. I still think Terrence Davis's value off the bench is a solid back.
For sure.
From scoring statistics, scoring
No
standpoint.
doubt.
I mean, he had 29, 27 tonight for a second-round pick. Just 200% steal. I mean, and he shot from the perimeter, I think, 60% tonight? I mean, he was –
good player.
I mean, not just being a good player. I'm saying, overall, he just plays well when you need him to play in a clutch situation because he has that – I won't say killer or anything, but he just shoot lights out. He has a Buddy side, not like he's as good as Buddy from the perimeter. I'm saying he just does not have any doubt in his 3-point game at all. I mean, tonight he had 27.
He's unconscious.
31 minutes.
Yep.
Huh? Yeah, unconscious. 27 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 31 minutes. 27 points, 31 minutes for a backup 2-guard is outstanding. And you look at the totality of what he's done. He shot 9 for 15 from the field today. And he's only averaging 7 points. 1 rebound and 1 assist. What I'm saying, he's played well for the Kings because he didn't get a lot of minutes in Toronto and he didn't get a lot of shot opportunities. I just feel like the moves that have been made in past years, the past 4 or 5 seasons at trade deadline compared to what McNair made, he was getting 50 cents on the dollar for every move he made in regards to he was sending 50 cents and getting back $1. In my opinion, whether that's felt mutually by Leo or not, I understand. But all I'm trying to get at is that I feel as if in the offseason he's not going to be making no boneheaded moves, just clunker decisions that are like, man, why are we doing this?
He didn't re-sign Bogey, and I'm going to hold that against him for a long time.
But what I'm saying is I think the reason why he did not because he wanted to have that money available to acquire somebody. Because the thing about this, if Bogdanovich is on the roster, there's no way they can re-sign Rashawn. That's a fact. If Rashawn Holmes is a free agent this year and Bogdanovich is a King right now, there's no way they can re-sign him. No way. Unless they traded Bogdanovich or Hield. If they had Bogdanovich as a King currently in 2021, Rashawn Holmes is gone. Would you be okay with that?
Rashawn Holmes may still be gone.
But they still have a chance to re-sign him. If Bogdanovich is a King right now, he's gone. They're like, all right, well, we got 3 games left for Rashawn. Damian Jones, you're our starting center, 2021, 2022. Bogdanovich, you're a backup.
So what's the difference of – no, that's not true because right now they're not able to re-sign them anyway. So what's the difference?
What do you mean?
Literally, they can only offer them a certain amount of money.
They can. No, what I'm saying is they.
So they have to get rid of certain guys still.
They couldn't offer him any of that money.
Yes, they can by getting rid of other players. The same way that the same way they don't have Bogey now, they're still going to have to get rid of other players.
it'd be a lot less likely.
It's less
Because
likely now, though.
it would be a lot more less likely that Bogdanovich, because Bogdanovich at 28 years old
But
with
if
a
they had
contract of 18
Bogdanovich,
million
we'd be in a
per.
better situation, period. Just look at the Hawks.
I mean, you're right about that, but what I'm saying is the Rashawn conversation is that at 18 million per for a 28-year-old guard who's 6 years into his career but only 3 years into the NBA, they're going to say, why are we going to take that from Sacramento when they know they're more desperate to get rid of one of them, him or Hield, so they can re-sign Rashawn? And they're not going to give us any equal value back, and it's going to be hard to find expiring or a trade exception, etc., to find money to acquire or to keep rather Rashawn, so he's not acquired by another franchise.
Then you go and trade Harrison.
You trade Harrison to keep Bogdanovich?
No, I'm just saying. So obviously there's different ways, and we're going in circles because at the end of the day, it was a mistake not to re-sign Bogdanovich, and the Kings are still in a tough predicament in terms of not being able to sign Richaun Holmes. So the moral of the story is they're still going to have a tough time re-signing Richaun Holmes, period.
Would you rather have DeLon Wright and Terrence Davis or Bogdanovich?
Hard to say because they would have
Because
never.
those two would not be.
They
in the
would have
team
needed
if
those
Bogdanovich.
two guys if if the Kings are winning games, it would have been different, right?
No, but I'm saying those two aren't on the team if they had Bogdanovich.
Okay, but
I'm just saying, who would you prefer to have?
right now, Bogey.
Okay. I feel different. I feel like Terrence Davis is the shooter we need off the bench. DeLon Wright can start whenever. Backup guard, they can play both spots and help Halliburton's development. I'm not saying Bogdanovich wouldn't, but I feel like he's not a hindrance to Tyrese, but he would take minutes away from him, the ball out of his hands, and most importantly, that salary cap hit. DeLon Wright's making 8. Davis is a restricted free agent rather at the end of the year.
But Davis is still gonna, the way he's playing.
$5 million a year?
Hell no! Someone's gonna offer him at least 10.
Who's gonna offer Terrence Davis $10 million a year? Who?
Bro,
the team's gonna offer.
There's gonna be somebody. There's gonna be somebody.
The Kings aren't gonna re-sign him.
Would you sign him at 10?
But who's giving him 10?
I'm just asking. Would you re-sign him at 10?
I think that's a subjective statement. I think he's going to make $10 million a year rather. I don't think anybody.
Would you pay him that?
Right mind to pay Terrence Davis $10 million a year.
Would you pay him that?
But he's not worth that. And I don't think any team would feel the same way. Like, name a team that.
He's 23 years old. He put up 20
points a game.
Okay, but as of late though, you just said it. As of late,
but that doesn't mean he's warranting a $9
But you can't be wishy-washy about no, but you can't be wishy-washy about saying, well, this version of Terrence Davis
that $5 million.
He's not gonna get paid $5 million, bro. He's gonna get paid.
Rashawn got paid $5 million.
Huh?
Rashawn got 2 over 10 or 10
yeah,
over 10.
Rashawn wasn't putting up 27, 26, 25, 30 points a game like Terrence Davis has.
Oh, well, I mean, he did.
Terrence Davis gonna get paid at the bare. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I will buy you. I will take you to the most expensive restaurant there is.
He's in Sacramento.
That he's going to at least get paid $8 million at the bare minimum, because I know what the market is for guys like him, bro. He's a flamethrower. Teams will look for that. He's 23 years old. He has championship experience, and he's young, and he's already showcasing what he could do on the bad team. He can average 10 points on a good team for sure. Like you said, and I've said from day one, he's unconscious, and you need that coming off the bench. So he's gonna get paid at the bare minimum $8 million. And this is me being generous, honestly. He's gonna get paid that money because he deserves that money. I feel like he's worth $10 million to me. Whether or not they pay him that or they're able to pay him that's a whole separate conversation. But he'll demand that money because there will be one team that offers him that money.
Well, I guess we'll disagree. I think he can get 7, but I don't see more than 7, 7.5. But again, that's close and relative to your $8.5 million mark. But I mean, I just feel as if Bogdanovich is a great player. I miss Bogdanovich. I wish Bogdanovich was a king, but I'm saying we don't have DeLon Wright and Terrence Davis if Bogdanovich is a king right now.
And I get it. It's not like it's super easy for me to say, well, I would choose Bogey over this version of TD and this version of DeLon, because, I mean, if people who follow me, I've loved DeLon's game for a while now. So I'm very high on DeLon, and obviously, look what he's done just tonight: 21 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, and a lead guard role. We've known this about him, that he has the potential to be a starter, and if that's the guy that's coming off your bench, I am a-okay with that. So if that's the cheaper route, then again, I'm still okay with these moves, and they should have been made earlier, obviously. But that's what I'm saying. Like, our objective this season was what, Javi? To win games. And what gave you the best chance to win games? And that was to re-sign Bogey. That didn't happen. They waited too long. They made the move at the deadline when they were really bad. They got better for a little bit, then they got really bad. And now the same 3 players that they acquired are getting better every single game. It looks like they're more comfortable under Luke Walton, and we're seeing different results. Maybe because we're playing worse teams, bad teams towards the end of the year. Maybe it's fool's gold, but I do feel like as of today, yes, right, and this version of TD, is maybe a better option than Bogey. But earlier in the year, like, I would have obviously chosen Bogey because I know what I would have gotten. And even Bogey took a while in Atlanta to really settle down until, I don't know, the past month he's been killing it in the East, and that team has been really fun to watch in the East Coast, and they've been winning a lot of games as of late too. So, Bogey's playing really well, man. Like, he's playing really well for the Atlanta Hawks.
I just feel as if he is playing well for the Atlanta Hawks, which is more than relevant to reality. But again, I see what McNair's trying to do, at least from the outside looking in. Obviously, because we're not in the internal works of their logistical, process, what they do daily, weekly, monthly to put a contender on the floor. But I have a sense of like, hey, he proved all of us wrong at the deadline. He found a way to make, lemonade out of lemons. You know what I mean? And I just feel as if we had a cup with lemons and we had no plan of making anything out of it. He found a way to bring us something.
Yeah. Good question by Giant Agent. He says, I could see the Knicks signing him, and he's referring to TD. I can as well. That's one team that can offer him $10 million, honestly. But he said, would you rather pay Malik Monk or TD for that 6th man spot?
Oof. That's a very enticing and interesting question. What do you think? That's a really
It's
interesting.
tough, but I'd go. It just depends because Malik's gonna probably get more money, so you kind of have to at that point. Like, if it's just player for player, like if you tell me, hey, both guys are worth $10 million, I'm gonna go with Malik Monk without thinking about it twice. But if you say, okay, we're gonna get TD at 10, and you got to pay Malik 13, that's where things get super difficult for me. It goes back to the cars, right? Like a car analogy. There's 2 cars in front of you. You obviously want one car, but one car is more expensive than the other, so you got to settle for the other one. It's the same thing to me. I think Monk is a better player, but they're both good, and they both serve their role as a 6th man. That makes sense?
Yes, I just like because the monk that plays in New York, I'm talking about for the Knicks, he doesn't even get playing time. How do you feel about him?
Who?
The monk that plays it for the Knicks, he doesn't even get playing time.
Who's that? Kevin?
Yeah, I mean I'm talking about Knox rather, not Monk. I'm talking about Knox. How do you feel about him? Because we're talking about Monk right now, right? And those are players that came from that Kentucky, Kansas threshold, like that played with De'Aaron, that came from that. I'm saying, how would you feel about somebody like him? Because he's not getting playing time right now, and I wanted to feel like I came at a standpoint currently in the show where how can we get players that, like, have you seen what he's trying to develop, McNair, that is? He's trying to get athletic, long, lengthy players, like from the Metus to the Harklesses, the Jones, Like that guy right there is, I think, in the last year of his deal, he's not even getting any run. Like, I think Monk, he gets some time, but not as much as he should for a former first round pick. But Knox doesn't get any playing time at all. I think he's the third string small forward. Would you be interested in signing a player like that and letting a Harkless walk? Or are you going to, you know what I mean? Because we're talking about like, oh, would you be interested in, Knox or keeping Davis, because they have the shooting that they presumably want. But again, we need to get athletic. But do we want to stay with the veteran, or do you want to get younger? Because it all ties back to like the Rashawn aspect. He's a defensive stalwart, but he's a athletic, he's a quick center, but he's not the biggest one. Do you still want to go for that type of build, or are you looking to increase our overall fortitude, like a bigger player, or bigger players overall? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
more like Harrison type players.
Real quick, Monk is averaging 21.7 minutes a game. He's played 38 games. He's shooting 41% from three, 82 from the free throw line, and 12.4 points a game. So that screams like a great six-man to me,
No, it does, but I'm saying he's a former first round pick, and I thought
Yeah.
he'd be starting by now. But I mean, yeah, he's a great six man. I'm talking about Knox though. In New York doesn't play at all. But I know right
Yep.
now, yeah, Monk's playing 6-man minutes in Charlotte. But I'm saying as a former first round pick, we all thought he would be their starting small forward.
Yep. No,
Combo 2-3. And he's playing his role. He's doing good. But again, you thought he'd been more.
he's more of a 1-2. I mean, he's more of a 1-2 combo. I think he's
He's
too
tall. He's
small.
taller though. I think he's like had a Halliburton effect or Halliburton. Vitals.
Nah, I think he's like 6'3", bro.
I thought he was 6'5", but
I mean, if he was 6'5", definitely 2-3, but he's more of a 6'3", more of a 1-2. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And Knox having no playing time at all, and looking at what his trajectory was, right? His rookie year, we had all this hype behind him. He had a great summer league, and people were just raving about how the Knicks stole him, and now they don't even play him. But yet again, they're winning basketball games, man. And sometimes everybody can't play. This ain't Little League. And
yeah.
the great Jerry Reynolds says, man, you have to be okay with that. Right now, he's watching other guys compete at a high level, and it could be used as a learning experience. And as you said, maybe it's a great opportunity for someone like the Kings who would be looking for somebody cheap. He could be, for example, the next Josh Jackson, right, where he's been bouncing team to team. And the Pistons really found something in Josh Jackson, because Josh Jackson can put the ball in the hole now. Like, Josh Jackson has really improved his overall game, but his ability to score the ball, something that I didn't see coming out of college. He was more of a defensive player to me, a very athletic wing, 3-and-D type guy. Was chosen way too high, but that's neither here nor there. He could be the next Josh Jackson in terms of a value pickup during the offseason for a team, for a small market team like the Sacramento Kings, for something cheap like, a 2-year, $6 million deal. You allow him to play it. You put some bonuses in there if he does pan out, and then he bets on himself. He's so young that a deal like that would make sense. And you're right. Like, there has to be a whiteboard. Like, right in front of me, I have a glass whiteboard, and I should have a bunch of prospects who are young, athletic, and could potentially be the next Terrence Davis, right, for me. So I'm sure he does. I feel like Monty's a smart guy, and we can continue to talk about this, but since we didn't talk about the last game on Mother's Day, again, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Vlade Divac was in the building. I want to ask you how you felt about Vlade being with Vivek and Monty, and it just, everybody was acting cool, but with the Kings, there's always going to be that little irk of looking over your shoulder type thing. How did you feel as a Kings fan watching Vlade come back?
Well, first thing, you were right. Didn't realize that Monk was shorter than I thought. So, he's not 6'5". I didn't realize he's shorter than that. He's 6'3.5". So,
Yep.
Oh well. Sorry, Mike. I tried to give you 1.5 inches taller than you actually are. So you are 6'3.5", not 6'5". But
Yeah.
I still think you could play 2-3. But you're probably better suited to play 1-2. Now the Vlade Divac conversation. He's the best center we've had in our history outside of DeMarcus, and he was part of the championship team that was obviously stolen from Sacramento, from Donahue and all them. But that was our championship that was taken, and he's always going to be a legend. He's in the Raptors for a reason. Granted, he made the decision that really, cost him his job with the Doncic pass for Marvin, and that's why he's not the GM any longer. But if he wants to come catch a game because he's in Sacramento, this is his home, like, how can you tell him no? Like, it ain't like he's out here just trying to, like, freeload or watch everything free. He probably said, hey, I'm in Sacramento. Can I come catch the game? It's Sunday. Like, I want to watch the game before I go back to wherever or do whatever I'm doing. I don't think there's any, like...
That's how I saw it.
There's any narrative right now, like, oh, he's going to try to come back and become... No, they're not going to fire him or ask him to step down and then hire McNair then bring him back. Like, it isn't like McNair's made bad decisions. Yeah, Bogdanovich rather non-resign at this time on paper doesn't look good. But outside of that, I mean, what has he really made? I mean, he got Glenn Robinson and Hassan Whiteside for, Glenn Robinson was released before he became guaranteed. Hassan is just the, insurance big. Kaminsky was waived. Then they got rid of
cut Daquan, which was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
But again, they want to bet on James' upside as a second-round pick.
He's awful. I hate to say it, but he's God diggity. Like, even tonight, watching him in person, he's just so soft when he goes to the rim. Great person, by the way. Like, I'm not criticizing his persona, his personal stuff. He's a great guy. But on the court, man, I can't stand him as a player. And I can't believe they elected him over Daquan. Like, Daquan is just a stud.
I think it came down to those two.
But it didn't have to though. Like if that was the case, they should have just cut Whiteside.
Yeah, I don't understand it because Whiteside's not gonna be in this team next year anyway, and they could have looked to play Jeffries more and see if they're getting. Yep. They're gonna get rather a future backup three that they can get for very low salary for a lot of good labor, more or less, lack of a better term, to have him play consistently as a backup three, looking to move forward with their roster makeup configuration so they could see what they have in him. But for whatever reason, they said, hey, we're going to look to cut him, and they released him. He went to Houston. Now he's balling. But again, I just don't think...
Kevin Porter Jr. not going after him was a massive mistake.
Who?
Kevin Porter.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you saying, though? Are you saying that Vlade has a chance to come back? And
No, I'm not saying... I agree with you that it was more of a appreciate Vlade for who Vlade was prior to his GM position with the Kings, and I know a lot of fans can't distinguish and make the separation there because they're upset about it. But it's, to me, people will want to raise questions. Oh, well, he's in the ear, he's next to Monte, this is awkward. And I was like, bro, it's not that big of a deal. It's Vlade Divac. He has a lot of ties to Sacramento. Peja still lives here. Peja's son is playing for, I believe, Capital or Jesuit or Capital Question. I forget. His son's a baller, by the way. So, that's Uncle Vlade Divac. So why would he want to come back and visit his best friend? So it's so weird that Kings fans are so tormented by all the instability. So I understand that. But it wasn't nothing more, nothing less than Vlade just visiting and having a good time, and then some people trying to make a false narrative out of it. That's how I took it, but it is what it is, man.
I just see it as if, like, if it wasn't Vlade, or if it was a player that didn't play for the Kings as productively as he did, then yeah, I would be like, all right, then what's this about? But I mean, from 98 to 04,
he's beloved.
He was our guy. And again, he's in the Raptors. He has a heart in Sacramento for us, and it's a mutual feeling. We have love for him for his time in Sacramento, but he has connection before the GM job. His position as a GM was something he chose to do that he didn't need to do after his playing career is over. But that's not going to negate what he did here as a player. So, don't think, oh, why is he here? Well, because he has a genuine connection to this city and to this area in Northern California. But, that doesn't wipe away his rapport built because of his failures as a GM. No, that's still going to be here. It's not going nowhere. And he's like, I'm not going to change up on Sacramento because I didn't succeed as a GM, more or less. He did build a lot of good pieces that have been put together in his roster, but he's made his fair share of mistakes as well. And that one mistake obviously comes back to the 2018 NBA draft, and that's really what, all other mistakes could have been overridden with that one pick, and he just didn't make the right one.
That's simple, man. That's simple. Well, we've been on live for an hour and 20 minutes. I was literally coming on here to talk about for 20 minutes because I went to the game and I was trying to rest.
How was it?
Again, I said in the beginning, it was cool to be back, but it was kind of sad to see how empty the arena was. We had a suite and we were the only people in there, and literally all the other suites next to us either had no people or 2, 3 people. And just seeing that, bro, seeing like the cam when they come out, the tunnel cam, and just being so empty. It was a irky, bad feeling. Like this isn't Kings basketball, because what makes Kings basketball special are the fans and the atmosphere and the passion, and you didn't feel any of that tonight because honestly, man, there were less than 500 people in the arena, bro. At least, like, they'll probably say there was 1,600. Hell nah. Hell nah, because supposedly we're supposed to have 8 people in our box suite. It was just me and Danny. So nah. So it's unfortunate. Obviously, we know the reasons why. I'm not gonna talk about the experiences that I know leading up to the first game when they brought it back, which was what, April
20th.
April 20th was the first game. April 21st was the real first game for the non
First responders.
right, for the non first responders, and we saw it. We had the first show. We had 0 foot traffic. And today it made sense. Seeing it in person, I was like, damn, no wonder. Like, how you going to have foot traffic when there's no people in here?
Yeah. Well,
And there's a lot of tactics that they used that were the wrong tactics that I'm not going to get into because, it could get into personal stuff. But they approached it the wrong way, in my opinion. And rather than getting people in, you see a lot of empty stuff. There were more people outside where it's free, right, to eat and watch on the big screen than people inside. Like, that was sad to me.
yeah. Well, Danny's a writer for
No,
King
Danny,
Thomas and all that.
Danny from Medici's.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, all this comes down to is get vaccinated. The more you get vaccinated, the more likely we'll have everything open in the fall for when the NBA season comes back around in November. It's what it comes down to. Whether people believe that or not, hey, the sooner everybody gets vaccinated, the sooner we can all watch the games together in real life. And that's not just for NBA.
I got vaccinated on Friday, and I had a terrible experience.
Huh?
I got vaccinated on Friday, and I had a terrible experience. So after
Okay,
our
but
show,
you're fine now, right?
literally, like, after our show, bro, the migraines started, like, literally in a matter of, like, seconds. And then I started trembling.
Are you okay now?
Today was the first day. So I had...
You went through it for 4 days.
I mean, that's tough.
Okay, 4 days, or what about the coronavirus for 4 weeks? What about De'Aaron Fox right now? He's going on 2 weeks. Think about that. You have a vaccine card now, so where you can go now and feel safe around somebody that.
But you can still get it,
has
though.
the virus.
But I mean, but you can still get the virus.
Yeah, but the symptoms are nowhere near what it'd be if you did. And to say you can still get the virus, the Damian Lee thing is okay. So 80 million people have been vaccinated. 80 million, and only 6,000 have had that occur. So I'll take those odds. 80 million have got vaccinated. Only 6,000 of them have got the virus after the vaccine.
I think it
Those
comes
are really
down
good
to,
odds.
at the end of the day, right or wrong, no matter what your beliefs are from a political perspective or not, as an American, you have the right to say yes or no.
I'm just saying so we can go back to the games. All of us.
Absolutely. So, again, that's an incentive to what? To take it. But that puts you in your rights as an American, as a human being, to say, damn, like, I got to take this vaccine to go back and watch games. Like,
So either you
like
do
that's
or you watch
so
on TV.
anti-American, though.
Yeah, I guess we'll see where the country's population decides to go, especially in California. But again, I support anybody who wants to either or, whether they want to get the vaccine or not. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, if
me
you guys
too.
want to be able to watch the game in real life with a full crowd, that's going to be ramification in my estimation.
Yeah, and I'm just giving you the perspective from the people who haven't taken the vaccine, and that's how they feel. And honestly, that's the major reason why the arena was so empty, because they said there's 1,600 people that are allowed. Bro, there were 500 max in there, max. And a lot of it is because people are reluctant to go back to the games, because a lot of people are upset about wearing masks, having to be, checked with the COVID and having a vaccination card, and that infringes on their rights, bro. And for me and you, yes, we took it because we want stuff to go back, but a lot of people
And
are
with
like,
my
nah.
job, but yeah.
You're right. So your job is forcing you, or some jobs are forcing people to take it, where you have no option.
Well, they gave me the option to do it, but I'm saying I did it because I wanted to stay safe
I know,
around
but
my family
honestly,
and my
like the option, they gave you the option, but hint, hint, hey, take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the way they're forcing you to do it. Like me, I'm traveling to Mexico in July. Guess what? I'm gonna have to be vaccinated, so I'm like, I might as well do it now. And that's the thing. They paint it as an option, but you don't have an option though. You
I'm
don't.
just trying to be responsible and accountable for my actions, and I feel like that would be
Sure.
the best way for my family as well as people I want to be around, and I trust science. So, but again, let's hold this time in the show to just make sure you understand. If we want to have the Kings back at full capacity in the Golden One Center to watch Sacramento Kings games, I think that's going to be something that's more than prevalent. And if not, I respect your decision. But, like you said, the stadium was a sad sight to see. And I think that's one of the ways they're going to be able to have that changed in the future for the games beginning in November. But again, time will only tell.
Kings need CP3, according to Neil.
CP3.
That would be amazing, though.
He's not coming to Sacramento.
With
he got a good spot, good gig in
OKC's
right now, man.
with OKC's crowded front court, should the Kings trade for Moses Brown to replace Holmes? He ain't going nowhere. Moses Brown's nice.
I like Lil Dort. I like Dort, though.
Me too.
Rather really consider him right now, but they're not letting him go right now either. No way.
Especially on that deal that they stole him.
They got him for nothing.
They got him and they signed him to a multi-year deal too, bro.
I would want to have the Kings acquired by Daniel House, though, in the Rockets.
Yeah, that's a solid player too. I like him too. And real quick to answer one last comment about the vaccine. He said that's a dumb take on it. It's American to take it. Just like World War II, where Americans contributed to the war, the vaccine has been politicized by one side. Again, man, I'm just putting out the sentiments from the other side. There's always two sides to a story. Javi and I took it. It is what it is. A lot of people feel it's a responsible thing to do. A lot of people say it infringes on their rights. They're both right. Like, you can't tell me that either of those things are wrong, right? Like, it does both. It in some way makes you responsible, and in some way it infringes on your rights. So there's no right or wrong answer here, man. It's just we're just putting out both sentiments, both sides of the story, because on Cowboy Kingdom we're objective and we have to put both sides of the story out. It's just the way it is, man. Because a lot of people feel that way. They may not say it publicly, but they're saying it privately. So
yeah,
it is what it is, man. Dre Lion says second shot tomorrow, last game in Sac. I'm there. Funny thing is, just because you're vaccinated, you have to be vaccinated for at least 2 weeks for it to be counted as vaccinated. So I took my shot Friday. I still had to get the COVID test yesterday, which is 72 hours in advance before a Kings game. So just because you get vaccinated doesn't mean that you're fully vaccinated according to the CDC. So definitely you're gonna have to go get a rapid COVID test. I paid $25 from the Kings are doing that, and I tested negative on Monday, which was yesterday. So I'm just passing on the information, brother. Like, I believe it takes 1 to 2 weeks to be fully vaccinated according to all vaccinations. So that's Johnson & Johnson, which is the one I took. I don't recommend that. If you're gonna get vaccinated, take Pfizer or Moderna. But I definitely regret taking Johnson & Johnson. Like that was a mistake.
Yeah, I took Moderna. But without the vaccine conversation, I just feel like Daniel House, with the rocket intel that McNair has, we should really consider in all season. But again, he knows better than anybody for his time in Houston for players and their current roster configuration that are going to be free agents. And I want to consider him free agency after people get their vaccine so we can watch the games in real life again. But we'll see in the very near future, That's the goal.
All right, y'all. So on behalf of the entire CK family, we'll see you guys very, very soon. We appreciate every single one of you guys, as always, for sticking with us to the last second. An hour and 30, and a lot of you guys are still here, man. Sitting there strong. Make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Thursday.